An Xbox game on the Nintendo Switch. Well, look at that.
Ooh, the casual.
So, yes indeedy, that definitely did happen. Talking about that Nindies Direct, I gotta say, it's one of the best that I have ever seen, really. The games are presented in it, the precedent that's presented by it. It's good job, Nintendo, good job. And I think it's really important to talk about an Xbox game coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is something that was in talks before. And by this, I mean, a lot of people forget about it, but Halo was actually almost on a Nintendo console. It was actually almost on the Nintendo DS, but not too many people remember that. And I would say, yeah, I do think it would be pretty hard to see Master Chief on the Nintendo DS. It feels like a grown man being forced to play with kids, even though I've got all due respect for the Nintendo DS. It's an amazing system. I almost got one, but the Switch popped out, so there's no point in it. But yeah, that Nindies Direct was pretty awesome. Master Blaster 2, I can tell you, I was definitely not expecting that. Master Blaster is a game from my childhood, so the fact that it's come back and it's gotten a sequel, it just feels good. And it's just $10. That's pretty neat. I had no idea that Inti Creates was even working on it. I mean, yeah, they hit a hiccup with Dragon Mark for Death, but you know, it big on them. I had no idea, and by the looks of it, it looks really good. But man, there were so many other interesting games in there. I mean, God, Red Lantern 2. That I never. The last time I cared about an Iditarod race, I think that's how you say it, Iditarod, Rod, whatever. Last time I cared about that was Balto, this old animated movie, and it's been a while, but it looks really interesting, and a race with roguelike elements to it that looks really fascinating to me. There was a couple other fascinating games, but I think I'll go over those in the video that's going to be preceding this one. Out of the gate, Nintendo came with Cuphead, and it's crazy. Some people weren't sure. Like, some people thought that the announcer guy in the very beginning, and I don't know, I love that retro aesthetic. Anytime somebody does that, you know, the ragtime or like the big band era kind of stuff, the black and white TV, I love that stuff. But yeah, a lot of people were thinking, is this going to be a horror game? I mean, Bendy's already, if I'm not mistaken, Bendy's already on there, and that's the only other closest game. Well, I guess We Happy Few. I mean, you know, all points aside on that game and its issues, some people were thinking that it was going to be that, but when I saw that, I guess granted, because I already knew about the rumors, about the Microsoft presentation, all the other good stuff, it really wasn't, it's not like it wasn't common knowledge, or at least for people that follow this kind of thing, common knowledge. So I really wasn't surprised at all, but yeah, it was Cuphead, and it was a glorious reveal. It was very pleasant, and I even love that they even drew animation for Mugman and Cuphead playing a Nintendo Switch. Like, it's cool. Like, it makes so much sense for Cuphead to be on a Nintendo. To be truthful, you know, as much as I don't have a problem with Microsoft as of now, I had problems with them in the past. Plenty of other people know about the issue. I mean, just like any corporation, you're gonna have problems with them. I mean, they do, you know, shitty things from time to time. It's part of the territory, but they seem pretty chill right now at face value. I have to make that addendum, at face value. But it's really telling of Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft's place in the industry, or at least where they want to take their brand and their direction within the industry. Microsoft wants to focus on what it has, which is xCloud, and you know, its streaming thing. It's got its own thing. Sony and Nintendo. Sony, I don't know what the hell is going on with Sony, to be honest. You can kind of tell what Nintendo wants to do. Nintendo seems to be more open. Nintendo seems to be wildly open to collaboration, and you'll see more of that with the video that's following up with this one. And you see, the kicker for Microsoft is Microsoft makes billions and billions of dollars on Windows, and because Windows just owns the market. I mean, yeah, you have Apple in there with its little, but come on, it's Windows. I mean, I'm using Windows right now. You're probably watching, if you're not watching this on an Android, you're watching this on a Windows product, almost guaranteed. You're gonna be a couple of you elitist with Macs, but it is what it is. But Bill Gates is set for life. Like, just God, I can't even mouth out the amount of money that this man has and the amount of money that Microsoft as a corporation makes. So they don't really need to duke it out like Sony and Nintendo. Even though these companies also have their own like Scrooge McDuck style storage money bins, they just don't, like, there's really no point. It feels more so like they just want to do it rather than they have to do it. Again, if you are going to be doing it, you might as well be really good at it. But it's definitely not something that Microsoft needs to put their heart and soul into, but it's nice that they do, or it's good to take pride in your work at this point. But with their crossing over, I see it as dipping the toe first. You dip a toe with Cuphead. I think Cuphead, while bigger, seemingly bigger than other general indie titles, technically it is what it is. It's still an indie title. Matter of fact, when you look into the pre-orders for it, or the fact that you can buy it, it's $20. So $20 to me is a indie price range. Like, it's almost the standard. A premium indie game is $20. It's almost just like it's like an unwritten rule. Now, sometimes indie, they try to break that, which, if you feel like your product is worth more than that, then by all means, like Hollow Knight at around $15 is a steal. It's a steal. Even at 40, and be like, it's a good game, man. I don't know what to say. Which, more on that later. Maybe another video about that down the line. But the funny thing about Cuphead, though, or that I will say, would you honestly be surprised if Cuphead sold the most on Nintendo, more over than Steam, than Microsoft? Would you be surprised? Because to me, it just fits better on a Nintendo console. The aesthetic, the charm, the look and feel, not to say that Nintendo they're just whimsical and magical, but it fits so much better on there than the kind of the seemingly cold. Even though Microsoft is chill, it's just their facade. You got Gears of War and Halo and Crackdown, like more of the mature looking, violent kind of it seems less like a focus on imaginative. Like, it is imaginative, like all that stuff is. I mean, I'm not going to take that away from it, because I like all those games. I mean, Crackdown, I like Terry Crews is my answer to that. But I love Halo, and I really enjoy Gears of War. I don't have a problem with Gears of War. I've got 1, 2, 3. I haven't gone past it. I've wanted to, but I never had the opportunity to do so. But yeah, I think the general consensus is Microsoft wants more people just to flat out be going on to Xbox Live. I really just don't think there's an emphasis on them. They're going to make another console. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Whether it be just streaming only or not, it remains to be seen. Although I think at some point it's going to be inevitable. But as far as now, I just don't think that that's their biggest focus. It's more of like a secondary. It's really just giving people options, which to me, options are always good. Not too many options, but at least a couple options here and there. It's always good. But yeah, I could definitely see other indie titles coming, like Ori. But I'm curious to see, will we get eventually Halo? Because again, almost happened on Nintendo DS. Can we get Halo's coming to PC, even though Halo's still Microsoft, still Windows, so it's not as big of a surprise for Halo going to PC. It's really not at all. It's technically still in the same ecosystem. But yeah, you could probably see Halo on the Switch, especially with the older games. Like if you port it over collection or something, that makes more sense, because at this point in time, the bulk of other than like re-releases down the line, remasters, whatever done down the line, most of the money on the first Halo 1, 2, 3, that bulk of the money I think has been made. Now granted, I'm not saying, like, I don't have a time cap on it, so it's kind of not safe to say that, but just in the short time, or short time. I said that weird, but just in the short term, I think the bulk of the money's been made on that. So it wouldn't hurt to put old Halo games on. And again, they seem very chummy and very chill with Nintendo. So I seriously would not be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if I see a Microsoft property in Smash Brothers. I feel like it's on the horizon. Couldn't tell you who. I pray that it's not Steve. I pray that it's Banjo-Kazooie. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Master Chief. Not in the least. Marcus Phoenix would be stupid on there. They might pull something crazy like that. Don't put Master Chief on there, but put Marcus Phoenix. But that's just a thought for future reference. But I really think Microsoft trying to get on other platforms, I think this works as getting the word out there about Microsoft, akin to how Windows is on almost every computer, or Google's Android system is on over half of mobile devices. I think it's just getting it out there. You want Microsoft to be accessible where it normally wasn't. Like Microsoft, of course, isn't accessible in any way, shape, or form other than Minecraft on Nintendo. That's really the only way, but I think this really opens the door on that. Also, with a focus on digital distribution and streaming, it makes more sense to spread everything out and not try to focus on building a bigger and better kingdom, so to speak, and more so to have like embassies. Like think of Cuphead as an ambassador, and think of Microsoft wanting to build an embassy on Nintendo. Think of it that way. Now, one good thing that I think comes from this is just the indie developers should greatly benefit from this. From them acting as ambassadors over to a Nintendo console, they definitely will see new sales. I mean, it's a new audience. Nintendo fans, I mean, Nintendo fans will spin on, if you can capture, I mean, granted, anybody, if you capture the heart, like they're likely to spin, but Nintendo fans, you hit them with that good whimsical stuff. Like, that's what I'm saying. Cuphead, no question do I not think they got double negative. Think that Cuphead would do very well on the Switch. I mean, this will reward tiny teams and developers, and with newfound reach that was locked down to one system. It's a beautiful thing, really. I can't tell you what it means for Nintendo, but the main thing I can tell you is, of course, there's going to be new sales because Nintendo will get its cut. But I think it could be more of a diplomatic move. You know, you give a little, you get a little. And I think that's probably what's happening here with Nintendo. It's weird and it's interesting, but it's not really surprising. I do have some questions though, like, really, I really would like, I mean, I can make the guesstimate, but I really would like to know what's in it for Nintendo. I, for the most part, get what's in it for Microsoft, but it's up in the air. I guess we really won't know until they actually say it, if they ever do actually say it. And I guess with Google Stadia coming, which I don't see it as much of a threat given the current limitations, and by limitations I mean just the demand of streaming. I don't think we have the networks for that yet. There's some places, no question, some places that Stadia can work perfectly fine. It's just not enough of them. It's going to be very niche, in my opinion. You know, until as time goes on, very, very niche. And not only that, dumbass data caps. I'm looking at you, calm ass.
So I'm gonna pay you $100 to fuck off.
But again, overall, it's pretty cool that this is happening. You got Nintendo and Microsoft playing together. They're taking it to the next level. But it's funny. I feel like Microsoft and Nintendo are doing a fusion dance to take on the upcoming threat of Gradia. And then you got good old Sony over here that don't want to play with anybody else. You good hanging out by yourself over there?